So I'm just going to jump right into it. Good afternoon. I'm Eve, the marketing specialist from Ember Personal Care. Today, Ember Personal Care has the honor to welcome Kirsten Tetler from Denver Hospice to talk to us about hospice services and palliative care in light of the National Hospice and Palliative Care Month. Thank you, Kirsten, for joining us.
Thank
We
you for
also have
having me.
with us is Ember Personal Care's president, Sophia Akrami.
Thank you for having me, and thank you, Christine, for joining us today.
Thank you.
I know that the Denver Hospice has organized training and awareness campaigns to educate the public and the senior care communities. I would just like to say that I've learned a great deal, and I hope we can help spread the words and about hospice care and palliative care services and what it entails to the people in need in the senior care communities. So I'll just jump right into it. Who need hospice care and who needs palliative care, and what are the differences?
Definitely. It may be helpful to think of hospice as a form of palliative care, but not all palliative care is hospice care. So while hospice care is defined by Medicare as a level of care that may be used when a person has reached a place in their life where curative measures are no longer wanted and may not be the best for the patient, palliative care is much broader and can include a treatment path that includes curative measures as well as the expertise and services of those who provide serious illness care, such as the Denver Hospice and Optio palliative care. So usually we think of palliative care as something that a person's primary care physician or specialty care doctor would call on and add to the patient's overall care plan to provide additional expertise and support.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
The next question is, what is special about hospice care and palliative care, and what do people look for in these two types of cares?
Yeah, so with hospice and palliative care, the services that the Denver Hospice provides can improve quality of life by focusing on the time that the patient and his or her family have remaining and making the most of that time. So our care and services allow the patient to remain comfortable and have the time to be with family and loved ones and really focus on the time that is left. I think the number one thing that people look for in this type of care is comfort and peace of mind. I think at the end of life, nobody wants their loved one to be suffering, to be in any pain, or have any symptoms that aren't manageable. And so our number one goal is just making sure that people are comfortable and that the loved ones that are taking care of them have the peace of mind to know that their loved one is comfortable.
Yes, I think we can all agree that a better quality of life, it's what everyone wants.
Definitely.
The next question is, what do you think is the role of home care in hospice care and palliative care? And what does being at home mean for the patient that needs hospice care and palliative care?
Definitely. So first of all, just thinking of hospice care and the support that is delivered by the team of caregivers includes from the hospice team, the physicians, nurse practitioners, registered nurses, social workers, chaplains, certified nursing assistants, and grief counselors that really provide a comprehensive approach. With that being said, a hospice organization is not with a family 24/7. So when you think of home care, it's such a good complementary service to what hospice and palliative care provides because it's just really second to none. Home care teams are really there to allow the families to be families as opposed to the family being the caregiver. So it allows the families to soak up those moments of just raw, heartfelt, and often healing conversations and time together that you never get back. And so it's just, it's extremely important that people, if they can afford and need that type of care, just really allow themselves to be that family member as opposed to the caregiver.
Yeah, and then as a home care agency, we do see a lot of the caregivers become sort of like a part of the family. And I can definitely, see what you're saying. So the next question is, what kind of caregivers are needed in this type of care, assuming there's a certain quality that a person might possess to better care for people who needs hospice and palliative care?
Yeah, my first word that came to mind was patience. A caregiver that is patient and understands how to look at not only the member that's on hospice, the patient, and the family, and to anticipate and know the needs. Sometimes it's just holding a patient's hand, and providing comfort to the actual patient, and sometimes it's doing all the little things that add up, assisting with the activities of daily living, like going to the bathroom, getting water, swabbing mouths, making sure chapstick is on. And there's so many highs and lows that come with end of life. And so it's just important that a caregiver is really patient with a family who may be actively grieving, even before the patient it has passed, and just being able to anticipate those needs.
Yeah, it does sounds like a important and difficult job sometimes. And so I want to just take this opportunity to thank every caregivers out there and taking care of our
Yes.
seniors. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Couldn't do it without you.
yeah. So the next question is the aftercare, is their aftercare for the patient's family part of the conversation? What do you think of the role of hospice and palliative care providers in the process of advocating and supporting the families going through grief and loss?
Definitely. I think our conversation with the family starts at the time of admission. It is just important to the actual necessary resources in line, like a mortuary and some of the more concrete. So some of the more concrete concepts come into play right from the beginning. We start those conversations, make sure that people are ready and aligned with what the patient wants and what the family wants, and our social workers assist with that. And then I think the social workers too are just working with the families throughout, anticipating those needs, and our care team too is working with providers to guide that care. I think one of the number one things about hospice is just making sure that everybody knows that they have options, that there's not one concrete way to care or to seek medical assistance when it comes to end of life, that everybody's unique on how aggressive they want to be, or how comfortable they want to be. And so our providers are just really skilled at having those conversations and helping guide families by letting them know all of their choices, which we see in the mainstream medical system of there's a lot of just like treat until you can treat no more, and less talk and comfort around hospice and comfort focused care. And so our team of social workers are starting that from day one. And a lot of times our admissions nurses and social workers are starting those conversations of guiding those choices and helping people understand that there's not just one concrete decision, that people have choices. And then just understanding too, we are the grief experts, and we start that at admission, assessing those needs, and then also throughout the services, and then aftercare. We're in touch with the family shortly after the patient's passing, and we offer counseling services up to 3 free to the patient's caregivers and family members and loved ones. And then from there, provide counseling on a sliding scale. So we're really fortunate to be able to offer free services to the community. We stay in touch with families to up to 13 months past their loved one's anniversary of their death, just to make sure that we cover the 1-year anniversary, which can oftentimes be a triggering and bring up lots of memories for families. So.
It sounds like the patients that with Denver Hospice is in good hands, and I think it's very important for all of the information to be given to the patient's family so they can make autonomous decisions, and sometimes that is neglected, and I think this is a very important subject. So thanks for sharing that.
Definitely. I agree. And, it's doctors and hospitals are just trying to save people. That's what they train to do. And that's what they want. That's their overarching goal. But it's good to know that you have options out there. So that's
Yeah.
an honor to be a part of that conversation.
Definitely. Thank you. Additionally, we have to ask, in light of the COVID situation, what has changed at Denver Hospice? Please just share a little bit of what Denver Hospice has done to provide more comfort to patients in need.
Definitely. So while we're constantly working, we have a task force assigned within the Denver Hospice that monitors information being released from the CDC and other trusted sources throughout the Colorado community to make sure that we formulate a plan, address issues, and take any action within the same day to make sure that we're meeting guidelines. We continue to just monitor and ensure safety for our staff and our patients and our families. We've worked really hard to secure the necessary personal protective equipment and supplies to ensure that we have what is needed to protect our patients and our staff. Our caregivers get issued their own set of personal protective equipment and have been fully trained on how to use that equipment and protect patients and mitigate the risk of infection, as well as offering telehealth measures anywhere that we can. Obviously, with hospice care, our nursing staff and our certified nurses need to be on site and be in person in order to make sure that we're caring for the patients, but we have been able to utilize telehealth for our social worker team, our chaplains, and our music therapists. We've also been able to offer the community grief and loss counseling via telehealth. So just kind of updating those systems and making sure that we're able to meet that need. And that we're able to reach patients and families through telehealth. A lot of times when our nurses are on site, we're working really hard to make sure that we get that FaceTime visit with families that aren't able to connect with their loved ones. So just working really hard to make connections in a world that it's really tough to connect right now and be in person.
Yes. Yeah, I think we all experience and we all have a lot to say about this. And I think the word for in being in a situation is just adaptive. And I think what Denver Hospice has done is just that. And so the next question is, as holiday season approaching, do you have any words for people looking to volunteer or people thinking about getting into the caregiving for hospice patients?
Yeah, so the holidays are often a time of reflection. Memories of loved ones tend to come to the surface. And just in these extraordinary times living through a pandemic, I think people are really overwhelmed and also just trying to figure out how to give back to a community where it's really hard to touch people's lives, with quarantine and all of us being secluded and asked to not be with each other. I know just personally too, finding ways to volunteer out in the community, that there are still a lot of places in need that need volunteers, and we are one of them. We have a very robust program and are very thankful to be able to offer that through COVID and keep our volunteers safe. And so we would love to just encourage people to continue to apply to become a volunteer. And we are also really thankful to be able to continue to offer employment opportunities within our team. I know that there's a lot of organizations that are struggling right now, and healthcare is at max capacity and always looking for teammates to join. So we're just really proud of our nonprofit status and our ability to offer volunteers and to welcome volunteers and staff members in, and encourage you to continue to do so. And we can provide that information to you here too.
Okay, awesome. And I think personally, that's something that I want to ask too. So that's very good to know.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
So if you are looking for the information, here's listed. Kristen tells us information on the screen. I know that there are still many questions that people might have about hospice care and palliative care. Ember Personal Care will continue to learn with our community on this topic. And we want to thank Kristen and Denver Hospice for what you do for the community and sharing the information with us today.